This episode of the Totally Rad Show is brought to you by Carbonite. Coming up, Zelda is back fresh with a new game developed from the ground up. It's time for The Legend of Zelda: Skyward Sword.
And welcome to the Totally Rad Show. We've got a great week for you today. A day early, we're going to be showing you guys what we thought of Skyward Sword, the new
day late,
Zelda.
Actually.
Oh, day
yesterday.
Late? Came out Sunday?
Yes.
Oh my God, I thought it was coming out Tuesday and we were going to be awesome. But we're going to be
pretty awesome
still. And I actually didn't even play it. We're getting Billy, our Nintendo zombie, to come in and sit down.
Yes. And then tomorrow it's time to throw a party. It's time to light the lights. It's time to have us review the Muppets tonight. Actually, tomorrow night.
It sort of broke down, actually, once you got to the anti-rhyming. It was good, though.
And then on Wednesday, on Thanksgiving Eve, we have wonderful family fare for you. Having not seen it yet. It's called Hugo. It's the latest from Martin Scorsese.
Right. I love Scorsese. Thursday, Thanksgiving Day, we're going to be doing a Thanksgiving-themed title fight, so stick around.
Oh, it's going to be fun. And then Friday, we're going to talk about Hell on Wheels, the new AMC Western television program that maybe you want to be watching while you're standing in line at the old Black Friday sales.
You know, in honor of Thanksgiving. It's how we basically ruined the lives of...
Amazing. That's a good way for Thanksgiving. We do want to thank the background, amazing Muppet background sent in by...
Brooks Newhouse.
Brooks Newhouse.
This is really cool. This is
one of my...
Dan is Fozzie. Even though you didn't even know that's who you were, old
and you're Sam the Eagle, which is amazing. And I'm the guy with the eyebrows that you can't really see in the mustache. You can't see his mouth or his eyes. And I can't remember what his name is, but I like him.
I love it.
He's like Mumbles. Really, and then every once in a while he'd like raise his eyebrows enough to see his eyes, and it was
Beaker?
like...
Is that Beaker?
It's not Beaker.
Oh, the other guy. I know what you're talking about.
It's not Bunsen Honeydew either.
I don't know who that is.
Bunsen Honeydew is
the guy, the other guy.
Oh, Bunsen, yeah.
Anyway, if you'd like to send in your background, you can send it to fans@totallyradshow.com and maybe see it prominently displayed behind our heads.
Yep, or displayed.
Displayed? That's when we spit on it. Whenever there is a new Legend of Zelda released, it is an event. And the release of Skyward Sword is, I would argue, even a bigger event because here we have the first Legend of Zelda made from the ground up for a console, the Wii, that is now over 5 years old. We had Twilight Princess, but of course Twilight Princess was designed for the GameCube and converted to the Wii.
Correct.
So we're going to be talking about Skyward Sword today. We have Billy Berghammer sitting in for Alex.
Hello.
Who did the Shack News review of this very game. So as and Nintendo expert from way back, friend of the show, Billy Berghammer.
Hello. Nintendo zombie from way back.
Exactly.
Yes.
So we're going to be talking about Skyward Sword. It is motion control on the Wii, obviously. We've got a new setting for Link and Zelda and all his cohorts. And this time it is on a floating island called Skyloft. And we've got flying dragon-type creatures. We've got your usual, set of dungeons that you're going to be going through, solving puzzles, getting new items. So it's very much a Zelda game, but it's very much a new setting and a whole bunch of new play mechanics. So Billy, huge Zelda fan, huge Nintendo fan.
Absolutely.
But I happen to know, skeptic of the motion control.
Well, when we actually went to play the game at Nintendo, or here in Los Angeles, we all came out skeptical.
Yeah. And we only had we had like a half an hour with it.
Yeah, we saw like one of the first dungeons, and you saw something different than I did, but I had a boss battle that was kind of...
And they said, stand up, you gotta play standing up, and we were all like, uh-oh, here we go.
Correct, and I'm very happy to say that you can play this game easily sitting down. You might have to adjust a little bit if you're, bowling bombs or things like that, but for the most part, you can sit down on the couch. And for a game that's 50 to 100 hours, it's nice that you can sit down and do that.
Yeah.
So, but I was very skeptical with the motion controls. I'm not a big motion gamer. I'd rather sit down with the controller and relax. And this game actually felt really good with the motion controls. The your left hand is the shield and your right hand is the sword. The Wiimote's the sword, and for the most part, it works very well. You know, there are a couple times where certain recognitions didn't take place the way I would like them to. Just for the most part, you're swiping left to right, up or down, diagonally, or even stabbing. Sometimes a stab might, be recognized as up and down or something like that instead.
The only problems I would have is if I had my sword over here and I knew I needed to swing this way, in order to bring it over here to swing that way, I would swing that way.
Right.
You know what I mean? But other than that, I agree with you.
Yeah, and outside of sword controls, you're flying your loft wing, your bird, by tilting the Wiimote left or right, or when you're going across a rope or something like that, and that worked fine. So,
yeah, and the game overall,
I really enjoyed it. A lot of people are like, this is the greatest Zelda ever, and for me, I don't think it was the greatest one, but it's definitely one of the better ones. And all of my concerns, as I texted you after playing for an hour or two, I was like, I'm cool with this. This is great. And my concerns is, the one thing that they changed is there's basically 3 main regions that the game takes place. There are side regions and side dungeons and things like that, but you go back to those regions multiple times. The first, once or twice that you go there, you're like, okay, cool. Third or fourth, you're like, really?
Yeah.
And even you are going to different areas, it gets a little stale, but once you're there, you're like, oh, this is kind of cool. I'm still actually having fun doing this, but I kind of wish there was a little more variety. But the one thing I do like that Anuma-san, the director on the game, he's really changed up the formula a lot. It's not all the same weapons, and not the same kind of dungeon layouts or puzzles or even enemy types or bosses. It's all new.
Yeah. And one of the things you said to me that I really agree with also is how the lead-ups to the dungeon, we would always have the dungeon being this sort of contained system of get a key to unlock a door, to get another key to unlock that door, and all that is still intact, but the leading up to the dungeon is its own kind of puzzle. You often have to collect 5 things that are all hidden in different areas, or assemble a key in it just to get to the dungeon.
Well, and actually, you just brought up another thing that I didn't like about it is there are these kind of fetch quests that do kind of feel out of place, because you'll get somewhere and you're like, sweet, I'm here, I'm ready for the dungeon, I'm ready for the next thing, and then some character will say, oh no, you have to go get this rock or thing, and it's like,
it's like
really?
4 hours before I get to go to the thing that
thanks, dude.
Yeah. No, Dan, wolves have wolves' bane. I would say a Dan has a Dan's bane, and that is movement controls, right?
That's right.
The enemy of Dan is Waggle.
Right.
So tell me,
Well,
I know you came into this game very skeptical, as did we.
Yeah.
So what was your experience?
I have a very mixed experience. Every positive had a negative. Very
Interesting. Balance yin yang.
Yeah. But did I get to a Zen place? I don't know.
You don't know.
Now let me just say too. Well, actually, before I talk about how I feel, I would love to ask you guys. This would be good information for everyone, including me. The fiction of the Zelda universe. It occurs to me that there's never been a sequel like.
Yeah.
This is like
It's the same tropes, and they kind of translate them into new settings.
Yeah, I mean, there's
Still Link and Zelda.
kind of a sequel, but like, it's just like a different story in this kind of the same universe.
But now it's like they seem younger than they did in the original Zelda. But Wind Waker, he was also young too. But it's not the same fiction.
Right.
It's not the same Zelda and the same Link. And fascinating. That's a pretty interesting franchise idea.
I agree. One of the things I love about Zelda, and really sort of the Asian franchises are kind of, I mean, Final Fantasy is kind of like that too. And it's not the same characters there, but it's like, yeah, this is a sequel, but it's a completely new world, new kind of lens through which we're viewing all that stuff.
I enjoyed the world in this Zelda. I thought the graphics were terrible, but the art style was phenomenal. I mean,
I love the graphics.
You have to say, no, but because maybe we're speaking the same language in terms of, going from all these amazing AAA titles that are even more amazing this year than any year before, and then looking at this game, that a Kirby game, because of its art style, you don't see the lesser graphics.
Well, yeah,
this
that's
game,
2D and flat.
Yeah,
I mean,
well,
this
that's
is
my point.
A pretty rich 3D world, and for the system at how dated it is right now, I'll actually disagree. I think it actually is probably the best looking Wii game ever.
Yeah, I can't agree with that because I think that I love the painterly, the artist with the dot,
Pointillism.
Pointillism. No, but there's something kind of nice about this. As a production design, the art style, but the graphics are so muddy that it's tough to really enjoy that. If these were next-gen graphics, I would love it. Whereas a game like Wind Waker that was more blocky, you don't see if they were just to update that, I don't think I would have a problem with the graphics. As much as Mario Galaxy, I don't have a problem with the graphics because there's less detail in them.
Yeah.
And now the art style, I love the intellectual idea of this art style, but I don't think it was benefited from the graphics processor of the Wii. But, same thing with the Wiggle Waggle. I think it's the best use of motion control, and it felt the best compared to other games. But I don't think that this would have been a less good combat system if I wasn't using the motion control. If I had been using my right thumbstick to get my sword over to the other side or whatever, that would have been awesome. I was frustrated numerous times in controlling, in trying to fight guys. I never. What you want out of a combat system is to feel when I don't beat a guy, it's not because I couldn't manipulate my controls right. The game and me weren't jiving. It's because I literally didn't have the skill.
But I think that aren't those the synonyms? Like you didn't manipulate the control, because you didn't have the skill.
I don't want there to be something wrong with the way. I don't want I touch a button on the controller and there's a lag between when I. Right, from a button
So you
press.
felt like when you thought in your head, I need to do a left or right slash, and you did that, it wouldn't translate.
Exactly what you said. It would be, I got to get my hand over here, or because I was holding my hand lazily before I got into the fight, now this is middle, and I know you can hit the button for the center, but that is not precise, awesome, fun gameplay. There's times where I did encounter the fight correct, whatever, and it does work. It is cool that every fight is fun, even with lesser baddies, because you have to think, you have to judge sides. But it wasn't awesome, and I would have had a blast. Every fight encounter I would have been looking forward to if I wasn't using motion control. But as far as motion control goes, I think this is very strong. The problem with me and the backtracking open world Zelda thing.
You like Zelda though.
I like Zelda, but over the years I've grown as games have progressed.
Yeah.
Because that wasn't a Zelda thing. That was a Nintendo thing. Metroid was that way. Zelda's that way.
Yeah.
Mario wasn't that way. But that was kind of So but now we've gone away from save points are right there. We've just been. So the more and more I play those games, the problem is I've only played 10 hours. If I got deep, because this is what happened with the game that was so like Zelda that you loved, and then it took me so long to love, Darksiders.
Right.
Which is once you get so far into the game, you understand the worlds better, so right now, backtracking is so daunting. It's so whenever I have to solve a puzzle, it takes me forever, because it's not the puzzle in the room, it's shit, I might have to go 5 rooms back to find a thing or whatever, and I find that
often.
But even if it doesn't happen, the possibility is there, so I feel so overwhelmed in trying to solve a puzzle. But once you get so far and you get cool weapons, I'm sure I'm assuming there's a grappling hook. I don't have that yet. That would probably make this game way more fun. You know what I mean? So it took me 7 hours. Before hour 7, I was not having fun. Hour 7, I was like, okay, I see that I could once in a while I get into it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I'm like 30 hours in, over 30 hours in, and you said I still have 20 more to go to from where I am.
Yeah, I did some of the side quests, so my end game was probably about 50 plus.
Yeah.
So
it's a huge,
I definitely
game.
urge you to keep going, especially if you had problems with the visuals, because there's a part in I don't want to spoil anything, but in the desert, you use these time shift stones.
Oh man, so cool.
You're in this world that's super brown and dusty and sandy, but then this time shift stone brings it back to a time before the sand eviscerated everything, and it's super colorful, super gorgeous.
It's futuristic. It's like robots. So you're going from desert wasteland, and you hit a stone, and that gets converted back into
a radius around this stone. Yeah,
so neat. I love this game, and I'm shocked that I do. I mean, I love Zelda, but this might be my favorite Zelda. The context is so vibrant and fun. I keep saying this over and over when I talk about this game. One of the first things you do is take a running leap off a ledge that's floating in the sky, and you're falling and a bird comes and scoops you up and you're flying. It's like, that is awesome. It's already awesome right away. And the game just continues to be awesome, and I love that setting. I think it's my favorite of the Zelda settings so far, swimming through the clouds. I love how everything is bright and vibrant. I love the look of this game. I have said how much I liked Skyrim on this show, but I was playing this at the same time as Skyrim, and I would often go, I think I'm gonna keep playing Zelda longer because I'm having so much fun, and I never felt for a second that I'm missing out on visuals. As I did when I was playing Twilight Princess, for example, on my Wii, and going, oh, it's such a drab, gray, blurry world.
If you go back now and try to play Twilight Princess,
yeah. And I think they played to the strengths of the system in making things very painterly, very colorful. It feels like a Disney movie to me. I'm surprised that you didn't like that about it, especially the character animations and the storyline. It feels like I'm playing a Disney animated film. There is so much fun stuff you get to do, and the tried and true Zelda formula of giving you a new item that opens up a new area, and I think it even works better here because the new items have a completely new control mechanic associated with them. And now you're able to, the beetle, which you get very early on in the game, you're able to sort of scout areas and check them out and like help yourself out with some of the puzzles. I thought that was a brilliant idea. There's so many ideas and so many huge moments. There's like a Sarlacc pit kind of monster, and the first time I fought him, it was one of the most beautiful fights I've seen in a game, and it's on the Wii. I'm shocked. Control-wise, yes, I had some issues sometimes, but for the most part, I found myself really enjoying it. I found myself able to play in a casual way. And it added a level of investment into each fight that I found to be very valuable. I think this game is on my short list for Game of the Year, and I might be my favorite Wii game, bar none, and it might be my favorite Zelda. It is that good, and I'm really shocked that I can say that. I'm happy to say that. So, it's not a game for everyone, but I think certainly if you're like me, I loved it.
I'm like you. I loved it as well.
Awesome.
All right, everybody, be sure to stick around. We're going to be answering one of your Twitter questions right after this. But first, we want to thank our sponsor, Carbonite. Computer backup, computer disasters eventually happen to everybody. It's just a fact. Computer viruses get infected with crashes. You drop it, there's theft or fire. I get infected with crashes all the time.
I know.
Crashes is one of the worst computer viruses out there.
Computers do get infected with crashes. Like, that's the fun thing. A crash doesn't refer to you drop it. A crash refers to
gremlins. But if you get Carbonite online backup before that disaster, then you have no need to worry because your files will be backed up automatically and safely off-site. It's really easy to get them back, super crazy. Not only that, you can check the files on your backup using your smartphone or iPad with a free Carbonite app. It's amazing stuff. Carbonite gives you unlimited backup for your PC or Mac for just $59 a year. It's not a month, that's a year. That's less than $5 a month. But when you use the offer code TRS to start your first 15-day free trial, you'll get 2 months free if you decide to buy it.
Wow,
all the details are at carbonite.com, and remember to use the offer code TRS when you check out to get your 2 months free with purchase. Cool people. Backgrounds.
Send them in.
Yeah.
Send them in.
Are you sending any?
I sent 2.
Alex is on the ball.
I haven't sent any.
Fans at TotallyRadShow.com, that's where I sent them.
Should send yours.
Don't miss tomorrow for our review of the Muppets.
Our Twitter question of the day comes from @Gabriel Valdiva. When creating a character on an RPG, do you make him or her look like yourself?
Always.
Really?
I know it's probably very narcissistic.
I just said that really high. Really?
It's probably very narcissistic.
Interesting.
But I always do. I always see how robust the character creation.
They all kind of already look like you anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice of you to say. But I was trying to see at the character creation system how close I can get it to myself.
Yeah.
And like Skyrim, not so much, but just recently with Saints Row the Third.
Yeah.
The guy I created looks like my cousin. It looks exactly like my cousin. I couldn't make him look exactly like me.
You know what
but
I
he looks
missed?
like my cousin.
Do you remember that? Was it? I think it was Rainbow Six, right? Or maybe
You put your
Rainbow
face
Six
on him.
Vegas.
Oh yeah,
Six
back in the day.
Where
with
you
the
could literally take
vision
a picture.
camera.
Why did that stop happening?
Yeah.
I feel like the
didn't really look
technology
that
got
good.
No, but
Looked pretty
now
good.
there's the Kinect. I mean, theoretically, the Kinect Avatar or whatever.
Weren't they showing stuff like that?
The Kinect Avatar, making your
Yeah.
avatar, which I
Yeah.
tried and it's not.
I started out always making it look like me, and then I hit a point where I was like, I think I was playing Aeon, where I made that giant head and whatever.
you just
I
want to be
remember.
grotesque.
Well, not I want to be grotesque. I feel like I'm looking at this for the entire length of however long this game is. Zelda, I made my name Fartface, so that every dialogue bubble was like, "Hey, Fartface, get over here." Zelda needs, you know what I mean? Like
endlessly entertaining.
like I realized, you know, like just make it fun, make it enjoyable.
Yeah.
I don't need it to be me.
You don't think
Yeah.
you're fun and enjoyable, Dan? You really should have a better opinion of you.
Yes, I would say that for the most part, I'll go with the spiky yellow hair if it's like human-looking things, but like DC Universe, I just want it to look like the coolest.
Well, that's
badass.
different. That's
Right,
like
exactly.
That's a design game.
Yeah.
Like,
So, but most RPGs, I'll put on like the spiky haired or like give myself like a little Jedi ponytail or something, archer look. Or night elves, I usually just go with like the archer look. Elves.